Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video of daily market analysis. Before starting the analysis, wishing a happy new year from Alpha C Cube team. Let's start with our analysis. So today's date is 3rd of January. So you can see what we are seeing here is a Nifty daily chart. So we can see that we had some demand coming around this zone, which we had spoken in our last videos. So now this was the zone where we have to be cautious. Like we had discussed this zone before in our videos. Why this zone was important? Because this was the zone where there was some sideways move seen before this downfall. Yeah. So now if we look into the chart, we see that on this day prices came here and we saw as usual expected behavior was to see some selling. On the same sense, we had some selling happening on this day. But the one more important observation what we need to make here is next day you can observe that we did not have any follow through selling as on that day. Expected was that when you are approaching this supply zones where you had seen some distribution or selling previously, expected behavior is seller should enter quickly and scale prices lower. We saw that happening on this day, but on the following day you can see that we did not have any follow through to the downside. So what does that indicate? So that indicates that selling what is coming here may not be from very higher time frame. So you can see we are moving sideways here. So this means that this supply which is coming here is getting absorbed by one higher time frame players. Like what happens is people looking at this visual reference might be selling retail people, and all that supply is being observed here by some better informed people who are expecting higher prices. So that is a observation on daily markets what we can do now. Yeah, acceptance above this can open up. So let's look at that development in much smaller time frame charts, that is profile charts. So this was from daily chart. So let's get into the profile chart. So what we are seeing here is a Nifty profile chart. Again, you can see we had discussed this matching low zones in our previous video, and we also had discussed about this important references. Once we start seeing acceptance above that, we also expected to test this zone, which we did actually. So now let's see what is happening in the markets. Sorry for that. Yeah, you can see that on like today's Tuesday, this is the Monday profile, like 2nd of January. You can see that, let me split this. You can see that we opened nicely around the lows of the previous day zone here. So we also tried exploring lower on the initial balance, like A period itself, one tick, not much of movement, but one tick movement. But initially there was some interest in sellers, but immediately there was upside move, like there must be some responsive buying also happening here. So if you sorry, if you can observe one trend here, so give me a minute. So let's split this also. Yeah. So if we can observe one common thing which has happened last trading session as well as today trading session. So you see that we open, we see some upside move, then we see exhaustion from buyer's end. So yeah, then again we see sharp downside move, which will be very weak, and again we see a upside move. So same has been the situation today. We saw some nice up move initially in the market, then we saw some sideways move coming in, and this was the move which was very sharp to downside. Again we saw some nice upside move. So what does this mean in overall? So for that we need to see much broader sense. So let's do this thing. Yeah, this one. So if we look at broader picture, we can see that we are approaching. Just give me a minute. Let me make this transparent. Yeah. So you can see that we are approaching this HVN. Like when we are approaching this HVN, this was very important zone for Monday's opening. So you can observe here, there might be people who are looking at this reference and selling the markets. So that is why, because that is the reason when we are approaching this zone, we are seeing some selling, or that might also be a profit booking thing. But one thing we can observe is this all sideways movement might turn out to be some absorption of supply. Like people who are selling here, that supply might be getting absorbed by higher time frame buyers, which is like much informed players in the market. So what is the reason to tell that? You can see here, there was this sharp moves which is occurring. They're not even able to tag days low. You can observe here in this K period we did not tag A period low, in this, and today's G period did not tag A period low. So that gives a sense that selling is not from very high time frame. So what might be the other possibilities? Like we are observing the supply and we need to see higher prices quickly. So that was what we analyzed on profile charts. So if we want to look at the zones which are important, and again this one, we have already taken it out, but let's keep it for like practical purposes. This is important. So we are spent some time around this zone. Imagine we open higher tomorrow and see acceptance here. So that will be great sign for buyers from these 3 days altogether. So that will give some directional bias towards upside. So what will be the reference which we can target on upper side? So this is the zone. This we have HVN here. We have volume attached. So 18400 should be the zone which will target on if we see acceptance around this zone. So yeah, let me mark it very clean. Yeah, if we open higher and start accepting above this high, if we see this happening, then we can test 18400 to 450 zones, which is HVN of this zone. That was to the upside. If you think on the other side, what are the zones we have to look on the downside? So I think if we can merge all these things, since we are trading within zone for like last 3 days, yeah, this is the zone which will be very important. So this is the average, but this can be considered as average buying zone where buyers were active, somewhere around 18,250 to 300 zones. Just keep a look on this two zones, upside like the 18350 on the upside and 18250 on the downside. If at all we come here, we see acceptance below 18250, then you can expect a test for this lows somewhere around 18150 zone. On the other hand, if you see like discussed earlier, if we see acceptance around this high zone, then you can look for long trades. Yeah, that was on the Nifty chart. So now let's get into Bank Nifty chart. So again, the Bank Nifty also, you can see that we had previously discussed this zone as very important, because this was the zone where there was some supply distribution happening before we saw this downside move. So we discussed in our previous videos that when we are approaching this zone, for the second time, sellers need to defend this zone, which they tried doing on this day. But now what we are seeing sideways move. Also, today we saw some upside move as well. So this is not good sign for sellers anymore. So this gives much confidence on buyer side. So yeah, now it looks like we are trying to scale above this HVN and target this one. So yeah, that is very important thing which we have to observe, this swing highs. Yeah, this swing high. So right now we can say that the trend is in control with buyers as of now till today's development. So let's see how they make use of that control for tomorrow's trading session. So let's see what profile chart has for us. So this is profile charts. So you can see that we are making progress to the upside continuously after forming this matching lows. So you can see that we were trading in this zone for last 3 days, like including today. All these 3 days we are trading in this zone. But one thing you have to, same thing what we observed in Nifty, that is happening in Bank Nifty as well. you can see that initially there is some interest from buyers, then buyers get exhausted, and we see some sharp downside move, and again around closing we see upside move coming in. So what does this mean? Like same thing. There is some higher time frame individual who is much informed, who is observing all the supply which is coming here. So yeah, you can see all the supply is being observed. Sellers are not taking any initiative. We have not taken out initial balance low, like low which was created in early trading hours. So all this gives much confidence on to go along with the buyers trend. So what are the zones which we have to look for tomorrow's trading session? So let's zoom out a bit. Yeah, you can see this matching highs which we had discussed. If at all we started accepting above this, we thought we'll come to this zone, right, which is exactly what we have done now. So this high will be very crucial for tomorrow's trading session, somewhere around 43,700 zones. If at all we start accepting above this zone comfortably, then this will give confidence for all the buyers who are buying in these 3 days. So that will give some directional move to the upside. So what can be our targets? This HVN, then comes this HVN. So somewhere around yeah, this zone, then this zone. Yeah. Look out for test of 43,900 to 44,000 zones if we start accepting above this high. So on the lower side, yes, today's HVN somewhere around 1840. Just give me a moment. 43,400 zones. That will be crucial because all 3 days combined will get HVN somewhere around 43,400 to 500 zones. If at all we come back to today's zone and start accepting below 43,400 zones, then you can expect a test of this lows, like this low and this zone. So the probability of that happening is low looking at today's development, but you cannot neglect any kind of possibilities in the markets. So just look for these two things, like look for 43,700 zones and this 43,400 zones. If you see acceptance above this, just go along with minor stop losses. If you see acceptance below 43,400 zones, then at least stay out of your long positions. If you are not comfortable holding shorts, creating shorts rather, don't forget to exit your longs once we start trading below 43,400 zones. Yeah, that was analysis for today's market. Hope this will help you out. Thank you so much.